Hey Theatremakers, welcome back. I'm super excited to continue exploring character development with you today. And in order to do that, we're going to spend a little bit of extra time in our opening breath sequence tapping into where we feel different emotions in our bodies. And from there, we're going to flow into doing some character work from the inside out. So exploring the psychology in our heads and our hearts and our spirits of a character, as like the first point of entry, rather than what we did last time, which was from the outside in, where we found some physicalities and just tried to see what character came out of that. Today we're working on the inside. So I tell you that why? Oh, I tell you that because I just want you to be prepared that we're going to spend a little bit more time in the opening than we normally would, and that time is actually also part of our warm-up today and part of the work that we're going to do. So because we're going to flow right into some stuff that's going to feel more like exercises, let's just take some moments to stretch first. So give your body what it needs to just feel ready to start exploring. So I'm noticing that I have some tension in my neck, which I'm trying to ease a little bit and resolve a little bit by stretching and massaging. I'm wanting to feel more energy in my torso and in my core, so I'm just patting things to wake them up. I'm patting my legs now to wake them up a little bit. So just give yourself maybe 30 more seconds to do the stretching that you need before we start our breath work. Give a yawn if you can. That will open you up. Can you see my laundry on the chair over there? That's what it's like to be an adult. Just kidding. Okay, awesome. So shake that out, whatever you've been doing. And I would invite you to get yourself into a comfortable position. For me, it's looking like feet flat on the floor, absorbing some groundedness from the floor beneath me. It's looking like torso open, core open, shoulders back and down. It's looking like and feeling like a string from the top of the back of my head pulling me up so that my spine is in alignment. And again today, I'm needing some grounding, so I'm going to place my palms down on my thighs. All of this might look different for you, but that's what it's looking like in my body, and I'm closing my eyes today. So, first, as always, just becoming aware that we are breathing. Having some gratitude for that. Understanding what a gift it is to find ourselves breathing again together today. Whatever kind of day you're coming from. Today I would particularly invite you, if it feels safe to do so, to bring some of that in. Because what we're doing when we're creating characters from the inside out is we're tapping into our own experiences, our own sense memories, our own cues in our body and in our mind and in our hearts that we're feeling something. And we're feeding those into the character that we're playing. This is intimate work. It can be hard work. And it's beautiful work. It's sacred work. So I just invite you to all of that. Let yourself be messy today, if it's safe to go there. If at any time you start feeling yourself just not feeling safe, you always have permission, and not only permission, but encouragement to stop this video and give yourself what you need to take yourself back into a space that feels safe enough to stay in. So just know that. I would invite us to do a body scan. This time we're going to start from the top of the head and go down rather than starting from the bottom. So with each set of breaths, I'd encourage you to just direct your attention to a new part of your body, starting with the very, very top of the head, feeling the points of contact between each part of the head and all the active space around you, flowing gradually down into the midpoint of the head around your ears, feeling the active space around your ears, sensing what's happening in your cheeks, sensing what's happening in your nose and up into your eyebrows and the bottom of your forehead. And gradually scooting on down to what's happening in the bottom half of your cheeks, the points of contact between your lips and the active space around you, and scanning back through the bottom part of your ears into the back of your neck. And as always in a body scan, when you feel tension, you always have permission to send a special healing breath to that part of your body to see if you can loosen up and relax a little bit. Scanning down through the bottom part of our necks, connecting with the top of our shoulders and around to, for those of us that have an Adam's apple that's coming out, this part of our throats, connecting down to where our voice box is inside, and then into our sternum, these parts of our bones at the top of our rib cage here. Scanning around, let's go down our arms. So scanning over the top of our shoulders into this area, our biceps on this side and our triceps on this side. Again, wherever you feel tension, particularly if you've been working out, sending a little bit of a healing breath, a relaxing breath to those areas to loosen up. Particularly for those of us socialized as men, we are socialized to spend a lot, to put a lot of tightness into the top part of our body. And that can get in the way of us tapping into our feelings. So loosening that up. I'm scanning now down into my elbows, down into my forearms, both the top of my forearms and the bottom of my forearms, or the front and the back. I'm scanning now into my wrists, into the palm of my hand, and into my fingers on both sides. Shuttling back from our hands, to our chest area, scanning the front of the chest where our pectoral muscles are, scanning around under our armpits to the back where our the back of our ribs open up, encouraging all of those muscles to loosen up a little bit, holding less tension, holding less emotional energy so we can feel it. Scanning down beneath the rib cage into this soft area where our diaphragm sits, what we've been breathing into. Take a moment to feel it expand and feel the part in the back expand where it connects around in the back of the rib cage. And floating down, scanning into our stomach area. I notice that I want to sit back, but I'm going to encourage myself to still keep myself upright as I'm scanning this area, breathing all the while, and floating down into my hips, scanning that area for tension, moving through all the parts of the pelvis, scanning for tension, sending some breaths to release, moving down into my thighs, into my quadriceps on the front and my thighs in the back. Feeling all the points of contact between these parts of my leg and the shorts that I'm wearing, and then the active space outside of that. feeling the tendons that connect this part of my leg to my knees. And scanning down now to my knees, feeling the active points of contact between this and the space, front and back. And scanning down now into my shins and into my calves on the lower parts of my legs, feeling all the points of contact between that and the space. And scanning down finally through my ankles, to the tops of my toes, to each little individual toe making contact with the floor, and feeling all the points of contact, not just in my toes, but also in my heels with the floor, and sending breaths wherever I need to loosen up. One more scan of the whole body. Just get yourself all the way down from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, doing it a little quicker. Scanning, 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 seeing what feels tight, seeing where there's an opportunity for opening and relaxation, and sending your breath there. Now, as you're continuing to breathe, I would invite you to conjure up a memory of a time that you felt really happy, really joyful, gleeful, excited. See if you can get to a specific moment and then start opening up. How does that feel in your body? I notice for me, when I'm tapping into this memory, I feel some lightness toward the top of my head. I feel like my whole head wants to kind of lift up a little bit. I feel the way that my shoulders want to sink down and back a little bit. I'm feeling that shift in my body. It's happening almost involuntarily as I call this memory to mind. It might look and feel different in your body, so just take a moment to really get in touch. What is this sense memory bringing up in your body? And as you're tapping into that sense memory, as you're feeling the way that it makes your body want to move and be differently, you might find yourself taking a shape, just shaping the space around you as we've been doing, trying out how that feels as one way of expressing this emotion of happiness, joyfulness, excitedness. Take a second shape, something that taps into that same feeling but is a different physical expression of it. And take one more shape, finding a new point of stillness coming from this same emotional place. And then you can wiggle that out and let that go, before returning to a neutral place to explore a new emotional palette. So I'd invite you now to bring to mind a real experience that conjures sadness for you. Something you've been through where you really felt sad. For many of us, sadness is a hard emotion. It's something many of us don't want to feel, so we spend a lot of time avoiding it. In this moment, though, you have permission and encouragement to tap in. Let sadness find its way into your body. What are the involuntary movements that your body makes, the sensations that pop up in different parts of your body that let you know that you are tapping into sadness? For me, when I tap into this feeling, I notice that my shoulders start to curl in, my chest starts to close up a little bit, my head kind of involuntarily slopes down. I notice my feet turning in. Sometimes I feel tearfulness behind my eyes. Again, it's going to look and feel different in your body, but I want to give you a sense of how this emotion is taking place in mine. Don't forget to breathe as you're exploring sadness. Remember that you have permission to stop the video, get a drink of water, take a walk around your room if that's what you need. But as you're exploring this sense memory of sadness, I would invite you to take a shape, some physical expression of what it is that you're feeling. Take another shape, a new physical expression that comes from the same emotional place. Take one more shape, a third way of physicalizing what you are experiencing from the inside out. And then you can shape that out. Let that emotion go, knowing you can always come back to that sense memory or a different one to explore sadness again. Coming back to neutral, I'd love for you to conjure to mind an experience, a memory of feeling rage. Something that made you feel really angry. As you bring that memory to mind, let your body take on that emotion. Notice what starts to happen without you wanting it to, without you directing your body to do anything. Where do you feel energy in your body that lets you know you are tapping in to rage or anger? Because it's the third time that we're doing this, I'm not going to tell you about my experience in my body because I don't want to prejudice you towards what's happening for me. I want to give you space to just really explore what it feels like in your body to be conjuring rage. And from this emotional state, I invite you to take a shape, some physical expression of what it is that you're feeling. I invite you to take a new shape, a new physical expression of that same emotional place, and take a third shape, and let that go. Shake it out, wiggle it out, knowing you can always come back to that sense memory or a new one to explore rage again. And we'll do just one more. From neutral, I invite you to call to mind a moment where you felt calm, where you felt at peace, where you felt centered. And I invite you to notice what calling this experience to mind does in your body. And I would invite you, wherever you are, whether you have been sitting, whether you have been standing or lying down, to come to the shape that I'm sitting in now, with my feet flat on the floor, Hands resting on my thighs, palms down, and a soft, open torso, shoulders down and back, head slightly lifted as if from an invisible string. Take a few breaths in this shape and allow all of the energy that you just spent exploring different emotional terrains to settle. Let that energy settle. When you're ready, you can float your eyes open or refocus your attention on the screen. And know that you can always come back to that exercise to bring to mind specific memories that conjure different feelings, different emotions, and just try physicalizing them. Just try making a shape. Just try doing something with your body that expresses what's coming up from the inside out. That's, again, how we create theatrical images, and how we learn who our characters can be. Okay, so for this next section, you're going to need a journal or a piece of paper and pen, and we are going to make some lists. And what we're going to do in making these lists is we're going to try to get beneath the level of our judging mind into our unconscious mind, where ideas just pop and flow and we just can swim around in all the ideas that we have. So all the same principles that we've been using of saying yes and really apply to this kind of exercise too. And if you are like me and you have a really strong internal critic that is constantly judging all of your ideas, that person is not helpful to you in these exercises. So I would love for you to imagine, I'm going to do this as well, imagine your inner critic or your inner judge as a person or a creature or a monster that is in front of you. See all of the details of the way that this inner critic looks. And try just blowing them out of the water. Ready, go. And if that doesn't work, just shoot. You can say, shoot, get out of the way. I don't need to talk to you right now. I'll catch up with you later, but I'm not interested right now because that person is not helpful to you. So blow them out of the water, shoo them out, swat them away, do whatever you need to do because your critic is not going to be helpful in this exercise. Cool. So we're going to make some lists. The way this is going to work is I'm going to give us 30 seconds on the clock, and I will keep track of that on my phone, so you'll hear the alarm when we get to the end of that. And we're just going to make some lists of things. And these are things that might come from your own experience. They might be things that you're imagining about a character you have in mind. Either one of those is okay. Some of them will lend themselves more easily to being your own experience or a character's experience. But ultimately, they're all coming from your imagination anyway. So it doesn't matter. Cool. So you ready? Wiggle it out. Let your voice shake out a little bit. Give a sigh. Do that thing we did last time where we pretend to fall out of an airplane. Scream. Let the junk fall out of your head. Cool. Okay. First list. In 30 seconds, please, I would love for you to make a list of jobs. Just a list of jobs. Go. Awesome. Whatever you are on, you can finish up that list as our timer just went off. Shake it out. Okay, for our next list, in 30 seconds, I would love for you to make a list of things that someone might dream about. Things that someone might dream about. 30 seconds. Go. Awesome. That is our time on that list. So let that one go. Shake it out. Okay, list number 3. 30 seconds, please. Make a list of... Oh, yes. In 30 seconds, make a list of secrets someone might have or things someone might not want other people to know about them. 30 seconds, go. All right, that's our time on that list. Let that one go. Oh my God, stop. Stop. Okay. List number 4. In 30 seconds, a list of things you might want or need from someone else. Things you might want or need from someone else. 30 seconds. Here you go. All right, that is that list. Let it go. Shake it out. Cool. List number 5. We have just 2 more. 30 seconds, please. A list of locations, a list of places. 30 seconds. Here you go. All right, wherever you are, let that list go. Shake it out. And actually, 2 more lists. 2 more lists. 30 seconds for a list of moments in history. A list of moments in history in 30 seconds. Here you go. All right. And now for our last list, actually, 30 seconds to make a list of styles of storytelling. So like different kinds of styles of, like, let's imagine movies as an obvious example, different styles of movies that you can go see, or styles of plays, or styles of books. Okay? Styles of story, 30 seconds. Here you go. Awesome. Okay, so you now have a really big list of lots of different kinds of things. And what I'm going to ask you to do now is to go through your list starting from the beginning and circle every fourth thing. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll circle the fourth one and then start over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going across all 6 lists that you have. So not pausing in between them or not resetting the count of 4. You're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then maybe I'm leaping onto the next list, 3, 4. So circle every fourth thing. Okay? Take a moment to do that. Okay. So, if you're still working, that's okay. But I now have the building blocks of a very interesting set of things that could possibly be happening. So just based on what I circled, which is not even to talk about all the other things that are on this list, I could now begin to write an opera that takes place in the ancient, what we call the Middle East, the ancient Middle East, in the mountains of the ancient Middle East. And in this story, there is a Pokemon trainer in this opera. There's a Pokemon trainer who dreams of being a giant, who doesn't want the other character to know that they have a crush on them, and is really just looking for love. They just want love in the world. So that is suddenly like a huge set of things that I could play with in making a story. In the same way, I could also, just based on what I circled, which is not even to talk about all the other things, I could make a really expressionistic piece, so something that's like lots of physicality and not a lot of talking necessarily. I could make an expressionistic piece that is set in Candyland, in which a Pokemon trainer, again, who has dreams about their teeth falling out, doesn't want someone to know that they killed someone, but just really wants some gratitude for all of the unacknowledged labor that they have gone through in their lives. So what we're doing by generating all of these possibilities, we're giving ourselves some types of people to play with. Going through occupations and jobs is not the only way to get there. We could have listed character traits. We could have listed cultural backgrounds that people might be coming from. We could have listed any number of windows into what kinds of characters we might be starting to see on a stage. But jobs is an easy one to start with because it's easy to just come up with lots of jobs that people might have. We started there. We talked about things that someone might dream of. Now that might be literally, excuse me, I just dropped my pencil. That might literally be something that you dream of when you go to sleep. It also might be a dream that you have for your future, but that gives us a window into the internal world of this character, that we either might get to see on stage, maybe we get to see their dream actually being enacted, or maybe the actor who's playing that character just knows that that's the dream that they have every night that they're coming from when they enter the scene, or it factors into what they are asking for of the other characters. We know what they're trying to hide. Now this is a really big one because this is something that the actor can hold on to when they're playing a character, knowing that they're keeping something close to the chest, so to speak, can really inform the way that they respond to other characters and how they conduct themselves in the story. It also might be a moment for what's called dramatic irony, where we as an audience in a story see the secret that the character is trying to keep from all the other characters. So we might get let into their secret, but all the other characters on stage don't know the secret. That is something that can produce a feeling of excitement for us as an audience to find out, is everyone else going to figure out that thing that I just saw that I know about now? So that's a story element that has to do with holding secrets that can really propel a story forward. And what we want and need from other characters, that's actually like arguably the like number one thing that every character really needs to know as they're going on stage. I didn't want to start our list there because I think that's a slightly harder list to generate, but I would say, and many acting teachers would say, that knowing what you want from other characters is the first thing you have to know if you're building a character in a story. And that's the first thing you need to know if you're a playwright making a play, is what the characters want from each other. And then, figuring out a setting, a location for our story, figuring out when in history, which can also help fill in some cultural context about where this story is happening. Which, might involve us doing some research. If we wrote down that we want to write a story about the ancient Middle East, like maybe that's our story to tell, maybe it's not, it depends. But we would need to do some research about how to do that well. And then thinking about how to tell a story in a certain kind of style. I'm very interested now in writing an opera about a Pokemon trainer. I never imagined that before right now, but that just came up in this spontaneous creativity that we just engaged in. So wherever you are with your list, I would encourage you this weekend to make some more lists if you want. Go through this exercise again, maybe circling every third thing or every fifth thing or every seventh thing, whatever it is. But use this to begin drafting something that you actually want to try to share and develop in our last week. And I will do some of the same. Okay? So let's close with our closing breaths. I know this has been a very different class than any other one that we've done. We spent a lot more time sitting today and a lot more time thinking and writing, but that's an important part of the process too. It's not all just getting up and physicalizing. So if you can get yourself back into an open posture with feet flat on the floor if you're sitting, or in what in yoga is called shavasana, corpse pose, where you're lying down and your arms are your palms are open, or standing in mountain pose. Close your eyes if it's comfortable and safe for you. Keep them open with a soft gaze if it's not. And we will close taking a breath for the ancestors all of us bring to this space and the indigenous people that were here before colonization. Breathing in and out. A breath to thank yourself for your practice today. Breathing in and out. A breath to thank others for their support. Breathing in and out. And a breath for the intentions and well-being of everyone in the PASA virtual summer camp community and everyone in your circle of family and friends. Breathing in and out. The loving and creative human in me celebrates the loving and creative human in you. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.